Hello, lovelies. We're up close and personal, and we're indoors today. I hope you don't mind. Today, I'm going to be speaking about how the girlfriend title is an imaginary status and one that is not legally, spiritually, or scientifically recognized. And this is why it can cause a lot of damage for women, a lot of confusion in relationships. So one thing that we share with all other species on this planet is that we choose mates. Females choose their mates. So the males of all the species, they make themselves worthy through different rites of passage, like providing, showing that they are capable of having resources, by showing that they are now ready to move their genes into the next generation. So I'm talking about all species, right? In the Homo sapiens species, we are just part of the animal kingdom. The human animal part of us does the same thing. This is really, really important for not only just for our biological evolution, but also for our spiritual evolution. Based on all of our 2.5 million year history, and even before that, we basically go by the same rules as other species. But let's just talk about the history of Homo sapiens. The male species has gone through the male species has gone through certain rites of passages to make themselves into a man. So just like in other statuses, you have to go through certain rituals to earn that title. For example, you and I can't just go and start calling ourselves a doctor. Like, I can't just attach the word doctor before my name because I haven't earned that status. I have to go through certain rites of passages, certain schooling, I have to graduate, I have to do certain things, and then I get to call myself a doctor. It's the same thing for being a woman or being a man. You go through certain rites of passages, and then you are considered that thing. For males, in tribal history, men or boys, when they were like 13 or 14 years old, they would be separated by their mother within the same tribe. The alpha males in the tribe would take the boys and they would separate them and put them in a different part of the tribe. This way, their mother couldn't interfere with some of the more dangerous activities that the boys had to do to become a man. So then these boys were taught how to be resourceful, how to hunt, how to fight, how to put aside their own needs and feelings for the greater good of the tribe. They were also taught how to share the resources that they got for themselves. So if someone just went hunting and they only brought back food for themselves, like if a man did that, he would not be trustworthy, and the other men in the tribe, they wouldn't trust him because they would say, oh my gosh, this guy is just bringing enough for himself and he could be dangerous. He could maybe, like, if we go hunting with him, like, look out for himself, he's not gonna hunt for us. Hunting was a very dangerous activity, and all of the alpha males, they would go in little packs and they would hunt together, and they would have each other's backs. So integrity, trust, sharing, community, this tribal energy was very important to our survival. This is why, if you look at today's like society, like men can have a little tiff or have a little argument or be in a big competition with each other in sports or whatever, and then shake their hands and then go off for a beer in the evening. Like, no big deal. Because they respect hierarchy. They have been evolved to respect when someone is above them in this alpha hierarchy. Once these men went through certain rites of passages, the alpha males would have a big celebration for them, and then they would give them a pat on the back and say, "You are now a man." And the respect and this title that they got from the tribe and how they felt themselves, like, yes, I'm a man, that's what helped them see themselves as a man. At this point is when this man would be now ready to have a family, ready to get married and have babies and send his genes on into the future. And this is even before we had the concept of marriage, because in all species, females don't choose males that are not able to have these rites of passages. For example, in birds, the male bird will go and find bugs, kill the bugs, and put all these dead bugs on its nest. And then the female bird will come and it will see how the nest is. It will fly to nest, check out each nest and be like, okay, do I like this nest? And if a male bird finds that 3 or 4 birds came to its nest and did not choose him, he will take down his entire nest and start all over again. He will build again because that male bird knows that whatever he's doing is not working, because out of these birds that came to his nest, they didn't choose him, they chose his neighbors. The truth is that we are both spiritual beings and we are in this animal body. We need to work in both realms, our spiritual and our physical. So this is why when we meet someone and we start calling him our man, he hasn't claimed us, he hasn't gone through the whole tribal energy. Like, this is why we have ceremonies for marriage, by the way. We are legally, emotionally, spiritually before God, before the law system, before the tribe, before the whole congregation. They are declaring this is my wife, and they're claiming responsibility for her, and I will take care of her, and if I have any children with her, I will support those children, and I will make sure that my woman and my children survive. So this is something that they had to earn. So now if you meet a man and you start referring to him as your man and you're his girlfriend, instantly his genetic DNA is thinking, I didn't have to work hard for her. If this was a bird, there would be a weird genetic mutation. What if a bird didn't have a nest and didn't have any dead bugs to offer, and a female bird came and just started following that bird around? That male bird would be really confused because it didn't do any of the things. Now at first, a male bird would be like, okay, this is a free chance for me to pass on my genes. Okay, and maybe it will mate with the female bird, but deep down inside, that male bird knows, I didn't have to earn this. This is too easy. I didn't have to work hard for this. He might even feel bad, I didn't even have to do anything. He didn't have to earn anything. And it might look at some other female birds that are looking for certain status and certain resources and say, those woman birds might be better than this woman bird because they have standards that are native, that are familiar to me. This is what happens when women attach themselves to men. Women go around calling men their man. Are you married to him? No. Are you engaged? No. He's not your man, honey. Stop using such language because it's really genetically, historically, based on our programming, it's really confusing. It shows the guy that you are actually not mate value, and there might be something wrong with you. He does not consciously think this, but subconsciously it feels off. He's thinking, what's wrong with her? I didn't have to earn her. This is too easy. So why will he just take it? There are 3 massive major foundational motivations that we have evolved with. Number 1 is seek seeking short-term pleasure, like food, eating so you don't die, so you can procreate, having sex, so you can like pass on your genes. Number 2 is avoiding pain. Don't die so you can pass on your genes. And 3 is conserve energy. So do the first 2 in the least amount of energy possible. So if a man has a chance and you're just sitting around available and you're like, my man, and he hasn't claimed you legally, emotionally, spiritually, you're just walking around calling him your man, then he may have sex with you. You're hitting on short-term pleasure and conserve energy. Ding, 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 like those 2 out of 3, he'll take it. And he will go with it. But long term, his genetic history is saying, I want to feel like a man. I want to feel like I worked for this. Like this was worth working for. This was worth fighting for. I want to feel like the alpha male of the tribe that goes out there and gets the kill and earns the respect of not only myself, my internal audience, but earns the respect of my tribe, my people, my family, right? Friends, right? Like millions and millions of years back, this is just genetically programmed in men and in the male species. And you might be walking around saying, oh, I'm independent and I earned so much a year and I like a 50-50 and I'm his girlfriend and I'm gonna contribute 50-50. Consciously, this makes sense. We're all conscious beings. We're evolved to things consciously. But now when we're bringing 50-50 to the relationship, women have never had to bring something like tangible. We've only have brought intangible things. So right off the bat, you're feeling uneasy with it because your genes just don't have any history of that. Men who brought only 50%, only enough for themselves, got kicked out of the tribe. They were untrustworthy. So they're bringing only 50, and something in his genes is saying, this is easy, I'm conserving energy, but something about it just doesn't feel right. So this is like you saying, here, I'll pay for my 50%, I'll pay for my half, you have the right to sleep with me, and I can earn your love, but deep down inside you feel like something's missing, especially if you have situations in your life where you need to spend more time on caring for your health, for example, or you want to be available for your family, or maybe you have elderly parents. Like, these are what women would usually take care of in tribes way back in the day. Maybe you want to have children. There's different seasons of life that women go through. It's just part of our genetic history, and men have these too. When you have these seasons of life, now you have to do part of his job too, and now you're feeling drained because you have to do your job and you have to do his job. And now this is like why women start complaining. This is like when women start saying, oh, I have to do everything around here, and I have to plan everything, and I have to be the one to initiate stuff. It's because you had put up this notion in the beginning that you're going to be chiming in. You're not. So now he's just used to you sort of sitting back, but also getting up and putting in something, right? Putting in that 50%, putting in that work. And so he's just like expecting you to do it. So why would he pick up the slack when he has been conserving his energy the whole entire time and not working hard for you or earning you because he hasn't had to, because you've just been sort of putting yourself on a platter, giving that 50%, which at this point has now resulted in way more than 50% because men and women are extremely different. And when you think you were just putting in that 50% while he was putting that 50%, he's working with so much more testosterone than you are. He's working with all that energy and all that naturally man-given like strength inside and out, and you're just on this different cycle, on this different time period as a woman, and you've just been putting in like all of this energy and all of this effort, planning things, giving so much of yourself, which maybe only looks like 50% in the beginning, but over time, as a woman, it will always show on you, and then you'll start to feel resentment. And it will not only show on you like physically, where you're just like aging differently, you're aging harshly, you're doing things and you're feeling some type of way about it. You're doing all this extra work and you don't understand how it's extra because you thought it was 50-50, but in reality, it's not 50-50 when you're doing it with a man, right? If you're playing tug of war and you as the woman are on one side and the man is on the other side, who do you think is going to realistically be winning here when you're both using 50% of your strength? He's going to continue to win there, and because he has all that energy and all that strength and all that testosterone in him and all of the natural hunting energy that men are just built with, he's gonna feel like something is missing, and you are as well, because you're both just bringing 50-50 into the relationship. What needs to happen is you need to bring 100% of your gifts and he needs to bring 100% of his gifts. The thing is that both of your gifts are different. They're not the same. So he starts avoiding his stuff that he should be doing in the relationship. He maybe starts playing lots of video games, just doing side stuff and not really attending to the relationship. Maybe he starts checking out emotionally. Maybe he's there, but he's not really there. Like, you can't feel his heart, his presence isn't really there. This is where the problems start. If you even get to the point where you somehow convince him to marry you. This is why after like 3-4 years of like being in a relationship, not even engaged, women will have to drop massive hints to even get him to marry you, because he's conserving energy. He's got you. He doesn't think you're that high in the mate value because you're bringing half to earn him. He doesn't really have to earn having sex with you. Like, he's already got it. He's already getting that. There's not much for him to earn when it comes to all of these rites of passages that he could have gone through with you, but he didn't because you decided to like go 50-50 on his scale instead of 100 and 100 on each other's different scales. And it would always be smart to go 100 on your own separate scales. For a man, for example, him going 100 looks like him providing financially, him paying, and him giving you what you deserve when it comes to financial needs, right? And him showing up and showing out when it comes to planning things and taking you out on dates and initiating a lot of the things and starting a lot of these conversations and starting a lot of the main relationship factors that a man should sort of seek out when looking for a woman. Whereas you going 100% is you loving, nurturing, being there, being kind, being sweet, bringing peace, bringing joy, bringing femininity, and just being a light in his life so that he can come home to, or he can come to a person who is just sweet, peaceful, kind, and loving. That's what you as a woman bring. You bring that emotional aspect and he brings that physical aspect. So the question that I am at right now is, why is he going to all of a sudden be very, very motivated and say, let me put a ring on this and get her off the market? You're already off the market. Obviously, no one else wants her because she's following me around even though I haven't offered her anything, and she wants to be my girl. This is all happening subconsciously. So why is girlfriend a dangerous status for women? Because the way women are wired, the way we are created, when we are attached to a man, when we use language like "this is my man," when we're spending time with him and having sex with him, we grow more and more and more attached to him, and we fall deeper and deeper and deeper in love. So the more time you spend with a man, the more you attach yourself to him. You start thinking that he's your husband, that he's your soulmate, that he's your guy. The more free time he spends with you without earning your love, without investing in you, without claiming you, like legally, spiritually, the less he loves, because he's thinking, I don't have to give anything. She's just so cheap. Her DNA is so cheap. Like, she's paying for the right to be with me. Like, I must be some hot stud that she's going against all of our evolutionary history to be with. Wow, I'm great, he's thinking. So now, psychologically, when he breaks up with you, or when you break up with him because it didn't work, you have to go through this huge grieving process. You take a hit on your self-esteem, your worthiness. And it is very hard for women to go through this. This is something that I've noticed as women get older in our society, in like our Western society, they become more bitter. They become more angry. Like, women these days, their energy is becoming heavy. They're eating faster, rushing and shushing, and just being a really big, bitter blob of energy around everyone, and it's showing. It's like they had like 4, 5, 6 boyfriends that they've had in like 30, 35 years, and all of them left scars on their subconscious. All of these men left scars on their worthiness. They're not understanding why they weren't valued. Even though they bought 50%, they paid for half the house, all of that stuff, right? They paid for half the dates, they planned half of the dates, they, did all of this stuff that is a man's job to do so that he can feel like he's earned you, right? And so you've just been losing your sense of self-worth over the years because you have felt like you needed to put yourself on his sort of same platform. And women and men, we have different platforms to stand on, and yours isn't planning all the dates and being suggestive of this, that, and the third. Yours is just to sit back and let him impress you, let him work for you, let him show you who he is while you're just there. Don't get your heart attached. Don't be emotionally invested and physically invested in this and financially invested, and don't begin to call this person your man when he hasn't legally claimed you as his. He hasn't worked hard for you. It's only been 2 to 3 years, or 3 to 4 years, or even 5 to 6 years. People are in these relationships and they're giving so much of themselves as women to these men. These men are not feeling like they have worked hard for you, and so they let go and they fall back. And while they're falling back, your whole entire heart is invested in this, which is not okay. If you love being someone's girlfriend and you want to keep doing that, obviously, if you're happy, I'm happy for you, but I'm explaining for the people that are very confused why becoming someone's girlfriend is so damaging, and why the guy just stops valuing you after a while. Now, of course, if you're giving some hints and you are going to start leaving, in many cases they will marry you because, again, like, you're conserving energy if you're walking away, and it's easier to marry you at that point than start over. So if you are in this situation, just know that if you start putting men on rotation and not putting men on a pedestal and just setting one man up as your man, and instead you decide to have many on your roster, if I will, then these men will feel a sense of urgency to invest in you legally and make you their wife. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to keep it kind of short, but I don't think that worked. Please make sure to share it with all of your women friends so you can enlighten them and get them moving in the right direction, and just get them a little bit more informed as to why they might be in some sort of bad predicament evolutionary wise, and just hopefully set them up for success and put them on the right path. Bye.